Welcome to Behind the Facts, a podcast that focuses on shining a light on the individuals that work behind the scenes, curbing the spread of false and misleading information, and fostering a culture of accuracy. I am your host, Thipe Maelane.
For today's discussion on artificial intelligence, its uses and applications in fact-checking and in journalism, I am joined by my colleague, Catherine Adeniyi, who is a researcher at Africa Check. Catherine, it is a pleasure to have you join us for today's episode of Behind the Facts.
Hi, Thipe. I'm happy to be here.
Let's get straight into it. Let's unpack some of the key terms that we always hear, these buzzwords, AI, machine learning. Please unpack what the key terms like AI and machine learning mean broadly.
Thank you, Thipe. So for AI, which is artificial intelligence, it's a broad field that focuses on creating machines that can simulate human intelligence. It encompasses various technologies and methods aimed at making machines think, learn, and solve problems like humans do, such as reasoning, perception, and even decision-making. A relatable example of artificial intelligence would be virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant. These AI-powered systems can understand voice commands. They can perform tasks like setting reminders for you, answering your questions, playing music for you, or even controlling your smart home devices. So they use the natural language processing to understand what you're saying, and machine learning to also improve the accuracy and responses over time based on your preferences and interactions. So let's talk about machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of AI, and what it does is it focuses specifically on ability of machines to learn from data, and it uses algorithms to improve performances on tasks by recognizing your patterns and make predictions or make decisions based on the data that they are exposed to. So a typical example of this would be music streaming services. Most times after listening to certain songs on the app, it suggests new ones to you based on the songs you've listened to or the songs that it thinks that you like. So the machine learns your preferences, and with that, it can improve its recommendation for you. Another example I can also think of is the spam filter in your email. Over time, it learns from you by asking you if you think this is spam, if you think this is okay to be in your inbox, and based on this selection, it can better, help you block unwanted messages in the future. So to simply put, AI will be it's an overall concept of creating intelligent machines, while machine learning is a technique within AI that enables machine to learn from data.
It sounds like a very powerful tool. They sound like powerful tools. And we are seeing on news platforms, even on social media platforms, there seems to be a change in the way that these sources that are sharing AI-related misinformation are behaving. Are we seeing any changes and shifts in misinformation patterns from sources and the likes?
Yes, Thipe, I would say that we are seeing a shift in misinformation patterns, the sources, and now it's even spreading, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence. Before now, misinformation mostly came from word of mouth, fake news websites, or even social media posts that were shared by individuals or even in small groups. But now, AI is amplifying this problem and in ways that they're becoming very hard to spot. I'll make an example of deepfakes, where videos of someone, their face or using their voice, these things are manipulated in a way that it makes people look like they are saying what they did not say or do what they did not do. So imagine seeing a video of a favorite celebrity giving a particular speech, but it's actually fake and was created with AI. So these kind of things make it difficult for people to know what is true or not. And AI can help generate these fake articles, stock of images, or even posts that look and sound very real. There are a lot of AI tools that can help you create news article from scratch. It's going to write it up. There are AI tools that can put audio into video in a way that you just, put the person's image and then put the audio, and it will make the lip sync movement. The lips will be moving and they'll be saying what you have in the script without them necessarily being the ones saying it by themselves. So these are things that we have seen AI do and is still doing. As of now, it's easier to spot some of these things, but things are getting more advanced. These tools are getting really advanced, and as the day goes by, it's becoming really hard to spot.
My name is Catherine Adeniyi, and you're listening to Behind the Facts.
Catherine, let's get into some of the advantages of using these AI tools. What would you say some of those are?
I would say that AI has its own benefits, and of course, it has its own downsides. And if you want to talk about the benefits of using AI, especially for journalists and fact checkers, we'll talk about these two helping us scan lots of content online and cross-checking it against verified sources, or even helping us spot these claims before they go viral. An example I'll make for Africa Check, we use this full fact AI tool that helps us, scan a lot of content on blogs, news websites, and in fact on some social media platforms, and helps us pick out things that might likely be false that we can actually check. So this is one benefit that AI is doing for fact checkers and journalists. Another thing is content filtering, for platforms like Facebook or Twitter or other social media platforms. AI can help us, pick out posts that might likely contain false or misleading information that we can check. And this can help, stem down the spread of this particular content. And to also add that for these platforms, when even posts are flagged as false and maybe checked by fact checkers, the AI tool goes ahead to help us put a link on those posts to show people who are coming across the post or potential readers that, look, some people have checked this particular information and they think that it might likely be false or is false. And then it puts a link to the reports that was written, the fact check that was written regarding the particular information for the readers to actually go through and decide for themselves if they want to proceed with that information or not. So these are some of the benefits that AI has also helped us to do as fact checkers and journalists.
With the good comes the bad in most cases. Let's look at some of the disadvantages of AI.
The major downside for the information industry will be the creation of misinformation. AI can be used to create convincing fake content such as deepfakes or even fake news articles. And, a lot of people are out there using these tools to manipulate the people and to manipulate the kind of information that people have access to. Another downside would be bias. These AI tools are trained using data, and when these tools are trained using biased data or data that are incorrect, it can unintentionally spread misinformation. For instance, if AI assumes that a particular source is always correct, it might flag or suppress valid content from even other credible sources. Another thing I'll touch on is over-reliance on AI. People might begin to rely too much on AI to dictate misinformation, and this might reduce what we call critical thinking. AI isn't perfect as we know it for now, and it definitely can miss a lot of things, because if you interact with some of these tools, they will tell you that you should try to cross-check the information provided to be sure that it's correct, because they can also make mistakes. So just because AI says something is true or false does not mean we shouldn't question it ourselves. So these are some of the downsides I can think of about using AI.
Thank you, Catherine. I think you touched on a lot of key things there, including some of the benefits and the downsides, weighing both sides up. But with the use of AI on the rise, do you think there is a possibility that fact checkers and the practice of fact checking may have to pivot in future?
Yes, I do agree that fact checkers might need to pivot in future, because the tools are becoming advanced and is being widely used, which means that a lot can happen. So when we talk about pivoting, we'll talk about adapting to the use of AI. AI makes it easier, to create more sophisticated misinformations like deepfakes and generated articles that look very real. And in the future, we will need to develop new techniques as fact checkers to keep up with these AI powered tools. For example, they are getting so advanced that before maybe little details could help us pick out quickly that this video has been manipulated, or this photo has been manipulated. But now they are becoming more smooth, more advanced at doing these things. So fact checkers might need to dictate subtle manipulations in video, or be able to distinguish AI generated text from human written content. And this might require a more advanced technology or skills in doing this. So if different videos begin to surface online or text begins to surface about controversial speeches from public figures that look 100% real but was actually created by AI, we will have to also sort of rely on some AI tools as journalists and fact checkers to spot these things. For videos, I'll talk about maybe unusual pixels in the videos or even mismatches in voice patterns to kind of quickly debunk this content. So another thing I will also say is that just as AI can be used to spread misinformation, I'm sure that it's also able to fight it. So we might need to use more AI-driven tools as fact checkers to verify information in real time. So in future, AI tools could be trained to instantly fact check claims in social media posts, news articles, or even live speeches by cross-referencing huge amounts of data. And we have been using AI tools to actually do this now, but as the actors become more good at what they do in terms of pushing out misinformation, we also, as fact checkers, will need to also step up our own game. And I'm sure we cannot do this just with human thinking. We also have to use these tools to be able to know how to fight against them. Another point I would like to touch on for fact checkers pivoting in future will be shifting to preemptive fact checking. Today fact checkers, we respond to misinformation a lot of the times after it has begun to spread. But in the future, we might need to do more of preemptive fact checking to check misinformation before they go viral. If AI tools could predict that these topics are likely to be targeted with false information, maybe based on trends and patterns, this can allow fact checkers to create content ahead of time to counter misinformation even before it starts to circulate widely. So lastly, I would like to say that monitoring and regulating AI use might be a thing. Fact checkers might need to maybe work with tech companies, collaborate with tech companies in a way to find the means to quickly detect and stop false content from going viral. Yes, right now we know there are certain platforms, social media platforms that are already doing this. I'm sure Africa Check's collaboration with Meta on the third-party fact-checking program is an example of this, to make sure that misleading posts are clearly labeled, and of course an action is taken either to bring them down or to reduce their reach. But in the future, we might need to do more of real-time fact-checking partnerships to be able to scan and correct content automatically.
You're listening to Behind the Facts.
This is Behind the Facts.
This is Behind the Facts.
This is Behind the
This is
Facts.
Behind the Facts.
You're listening to Behind the Facts.
Thanks for tuning in into Behind the Facts.
Well, Catherine, I'm listening to you and it sounds like it has a lot of applications and it's sounding like it is a very useful tool for us. But is there a limit in terms of the reliance and integration of AI into the work of fact checkers and journalists?
AI tools have their uses, quite all right, agreed. But at this time, I can say that AI tools cannot replace fact checkers, human fact checkers, because there are a lot of intricacies that come into debunking misinformation. And the first thing I'll touch on under this is context. Human fact checkers are able to relate with background information, the context, the reason why this particular misinformation could surface in the first instance, which AI tools might not be able to do, because AI tools are fed with data. They analyze things based on the instruction that has been written and given to them, and this could limits the way they process certain information. But for a human fact checker who can critically think, who understands the geography, who understands the intricacies, how things work in a particular context, will be able to analyze that particular situation better and be able to know what could have made this information surface in the first instance, and what are the things that people who will read the particular fact check they are writing will need to know, and what can actually help them in future not to fall for that particular type of misinformation. But AI tools, as we know it now, still have that limitation of just processing information based on the knowledge they have. You see some AI tools give you information based on the last set of data they were fed, maybe from previous years, like maybe 2022 or 2023. They give you information based on that data that they have been fed. But when you talk about fact checking real-time information, a human fact checker will always win when it comes to critical thinking, when it comes to context, and sometimes when it comes to how things work in a particular location.
Have you, in the work that you've done or from journalists that you've worked very closely with, ever encountered from the audience any skepticism about the integration of AI into your work?
I think that would depend on the angle of how we use AI tools to do our work. Personally, I've not encountered any pushback or criticism, so to speak, from the audience regarding the use of AI tools. But for journalists, a lot of content are being pushed out there, and some media organizations are beginning to use AI tools like maybe text to video functions of AI tools that helps them bring life to their reports, create quick videos to explain what their reports are based on. But I think responsible use of AI by letting the audience know that this content was made with AI is very important. It creates that trust that you're being open, you're being transparent with your processes and the way that you use tools in doing them. AI is with us. There is nothing we can do about it. We just have to find a way to responsibly use it in our work and let our audience know that this content was actually produced with AI. So that promotes the trust that people have regarding our work.
Thanks a lot, Catherine. I think you've really covered it quite well and given us a good understanding of what AI looks like, not just for fact checkers, but also for journalists as well. I want to thank you for joining us for today's discussion. It has been insightful learning from you and getting insights about the use of AI in the field of fact checking and journalism.
Thank you very much, Thipe.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I have been your host, Thipe Maelane, and this is Behind the Facts.